I shushed you, Ellie looked over at me because she's the one I'm always shushing.
Classic.
Okay, we're in it. I am recording here, and welcome everyone to A Court of Bros and Broses. This is a podcast. This has completely escaped my brain. Oh my god. About three straight men on a maiden voyage through Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses, where we maybe learn a little something along the way. And I'm Nirav. I'm alive, and I'm perfectly cogent. Well, thanks for asking. I'm joined by my co-hosts who are also, I think, 100% present. Patrick and Joe.
Yep, totally present. Yes.
Gobble gobble, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I floated an idea of having a Thanksgiving cold open, but then didn't expand on what that might mean. So,
I have a fun tangent, not really related at all, but speaking of Thanksgiving, Macy's recently discovered that over the last 2 years, they had an employee that intentionally hid up to $154 million in delivery expenses, and that's fucking hilarious. So, happy Thanksgiving to Macy's.
All right.
That's incredible. Is that all Macy's or like your local Macy's?
I
It's
think the corporate Macy's, yeah.
But it's one employee that did it, which fucking legendary.
Kind of a troublemaker there, kind of the recent of Thanksgiving.
Nice.
All right,
Good
so
time.
I think since we've all agreed this is a pretty like content light set of chapters here, and so I'm gonna.
Yeah, it seemed like Sarah agreed with us in that fair returning to the human realm. That's boring. Let's get through this shit as quickly as possible, so she can get back to the cool
these
fairy
chapters
stuff.
were like so short too.
Yeah,
okay.
because she knew that like after being in the fairy realm for so long, no one's gonna be interested in the real world, and she was right.
Hey, do you know why? I just saw in my bookmarks bar on my computer there is a bookmark to Liam Neeson improv GIF on Google Images as a bookmark.
A Liam Neeson improv what?
GIF or GIF if you're one of those people. I
No,
respect those.
if you're one of those
not
people,
one of those people.
Stop.
Okay.
Don't listen to our podcast. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry.
Okay, that was kind of what I was
Jeez.
hoping to not say, but yeah.
No, they have to know they're wrong.
Okay.
The inventor of the GIF is listening to this right now, pretty bummed out. We just lost a listener.
Yeah. This is the okay, so I'll just post this in the chat, and I'll see if I can just put it up on our social as well when we post this episode. This is the GIF I was looking for when I Googled that and then accidentally bookmarked the Google search.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. All right. So
What is that from again?
It's from that Ricky Gervais show where he like goes. Liam Neeson is like, I'd like to learn improv, and he like
Yeah, I know
Warwick
what you're
Davis
talking
like
about.
takes him around to like try to learn, and they like keep running these improv scenes, and like every time it's like, "Hello, I'm a greengrocer." No, you're not. I've got full blown AIDS. It's just like every time.
Yep.
It's very
Yes.
good, actually. It's
I
one of my
remember
favorite clips on YouTube. Anyway, all right. So what I've decided to do to spice this episode up a little bit is I've loaded up a list from Parade.com of 45 fun Thanksgiving facts, and I'll just sort of sprinkle these throughout the episode.
Okay. Are we gonna try and tie these into the show in any way?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, man.
Speaking of blank, and then you had to swing over to a cool Thanksgiving fun fact. I hope you have some good pivots in there.
Yeah, man.
I'm
always
really glad we decided to plan this out, and this is clearly not a half-assed last-minute attempt to tie this into Thanksgiving somehow.
It's the holidays, man. Or if you're in Canada, listen to this a month ago because this is not for you.
If you're in Canada, also go fuck yourself.
Actually,
my
I
gosh.
don't.
I want
don't. I don't
listeners that
stand
are
by that.
American and say
White land-owning men.
That's not even me.
If it wasn't clear from the
that's
last
an
episode, where I dropped a bomb on everyone at the end of the episode that Alexa didn't like our outro, we don't discuss things before we record. We all hop on the call and go, all right, we're recording? Great. And we
You
just
know why?
go
Because
for
that's
it.
content leaking out of the machine, and I cannot
Exactly.
let the content leak out. Speaking of Canada, though, I did discover that we have in Atlanta a Tim Hortons. I drove by it today, and I was surprised, so I stopped and I got myself some Timbits, which I have in front of me now.
Is this a Thanksgiving fun fact, or is this a Nero fun fact?
This is a Canada fun fact.
Canada fun fact, okay.
So Canadians who are listening who they can't celebrate Thanksgiving because it already happened, you can celebrate the fact that I have a Tim Hortons Timbits in front of me here. Okay,
All right.
so let's go ahead and get
Anyways,
into like
Farrah's home now. Farrah's home now, and home is crazy different.
Whoa.
Things are wacky.
Yep. So they're rich now. They're absolutely loaded. We talked about this in the last episode, why they're loaded, about all the series of random events that happened to the family to make them suddenly rich. But now they do balls. They're living the full-on Bridgerton life, going to fancy parties, going to balls. There's the whole, like, there's the quote, all
Yeah, I
also,
noticed
like,
that. They even talked about the season.
This season, I know. I was like, oh, my Bridgerton watching experience has served me well, because as soon as they said what the season was, I was like, aha, I know what the season is.
And yeah, like she gets home and like her dad even does the fucking fake Willy Wonka rollout where he pretends to have a limp and just does a backflip and he's all better now.
Oh, I would have loved
that.
But... No, did you just get Wonka?
My headcanon.
Wonka, dude. That's not good. Speaking of Willy Wonka, did you know that there are 4 U.S. towns named Turkey? Do you know what states those are in? That's right. Texas, Arizona, Louisiana, and North Carolina.
To be fair, I did tell Nirav I want him to sprinkle these in as tangential-related fun facts. So I think so far he's crushing it.
Speaking of,
we've only made it at one sentence into this into the actual content of the books, though.
Yeah, with that, it gets us like a fourth of the way there, though, for this episode. Sorry.
So that was pretty ham-fisted, even for Thanksgiving.
That's pretty good.
Ham. Oh, we forgot to do at the beginning of the episode is we forgot to pay our respects to the Better family.
Oh,
which we all nailed that.
No, stay in order.
Sorry.
Order in the court.
I'm sorry. You're right. There's
a method here.
So Farrah is with her family.
Everybody's
rich
alive
now. Everyone's alive. You're right. Farrah's family is alive and well. They are thriving. One could even say.
Too well, if you ask me.
Elaine, bless her heart, Elaine is living her best life. She's gardening. She is just so incredibly happy. Her dad is back to business as usual. And Nesta's still being incredibly shady around her. And Elaine's sprinkling some information that, like, oh, yeah, during the season, Nesta's not that interested in the season. And Elaine did disclose to Farrah that they all feel it's really weird that as soon as they went back to these rich parties, that apparently it sounds like they used to attend these rich fancy parties before, but as soon as they went back to these rich parties where all their old rich friends were, everyone just pretended the last 8 years of them being poor didn't even happen. Like, no one alluded to it. No one said, oh, I'm sorry you were so poor. Like, no mention of it at all. They're just like, hey, what's up? It's our rich friends. Like, it's just, so that was off-putting for Elaine. And it sounds like for the family as well.
It kind of sounds also, even without the glamour, realistic to how rich people would act in this situation.
100%. Oh, I don't think there was a glamour on the rich people.
No, on the rest of the community, there wasn't one. The glamour was money.
Yeah.
Yes.
The glamour was the money we made along the way.
Jeez.
Thank you.
No, but you're right. I kind of liked that touch because I was like, that is exactly how these fucking people would act.
100%.
So yeah, I like that. I like that they acknowledge that, and then Nesta obviously has given off vibes that she is like aware of something that she shouldn't be, which we'll find out more about that later. But she's like still being, she is like I don't know.
She seemed like she was very suspicious of Farrah, and it sounds like even while Farrah was gone, Nesta was like, something was up with Nesta. And then Elaine tells Farrah, like, oh, Nesta actually went after you. She, like, got on a carriage and went after her, which, based on our initial impressions of what Nesta was like in the first few chapters of the book, seems extremely out of character for her, based on what little we know about her. We're like, wait a minute, Nesta sucks, right? And then, like, now this is, like, Elaine's painting her as being someone who, like, went after Farrah to, like, visit her, and it's like, huh.
That was wild, yeah. So, is that where we are, or did that come out later?
That's where we are. Well, like, as far as... we don't know what Nesta's actual goal is in the trip and why she left. But as far as from Elaine's point of view, she tells Farrah that, oh yeah, Nesta went to try and visit you, but the carriage had problems, so she came back.
Right.
So basically, this chapter is all about Farrah getting like an update on what their current life situation is like. The dad is business as usual. Elaine is absolutely thriving, gardening, and Nesta has been seemingly unhappy. But we don't know why yet.
Yeah. And another person who was seemingly unhappy was Thomas Jefferson, because he refused to declare Thanksgiving a holiday every year because he felt that it was a religious holiday and violated the separation of church and state for the president to acknowledge it.
Wow, Thomas Jefferson. Great. The problem is when you do these, as much as this is great, it completely fucking derails my train of thought, and I can't even think of what we were talking about before you.
So Thomas Jefferson. Okay, hang on. Yeah, you're right.
He was a good guy, right? He was the good one. He didn't do anything bad.
Who did you?
I don't know if I would say
define good.
I will say that in Hamilton, the musical, Thomas Jefferson had some freaking great songs.
He was cool, and I liked his dances and the big songs he did, but I don't think I liked a lot of the slavery that he did.
Yeah, the slave stuff was a little dodgy.
Yeah, are we trying to cancel Thomas Jefferson in 2024?
Oh man, that'd be so bold of us.
Yeah, I think it's already been done pretty sufficiently.
Anyways, after Farrah kind of settles in a little bit, she takes some money. She goes into town. She's like, I'm going to share this money with all the people in town that were like, because they spent a lot of time with people in town. So she goes into town with bags of money and gives it to all the poors in the town.
The poors.
The poors, yes. And while she's in town, she sees her ex-paramour, Isaac, which... It's funny. Alexa did actually note this to me. She was like, I was talking because I brought up Isaac again because, she sees Isaac. And Alexa's like, I got to say something. Listening to the podcast, you guys talk about Isaac more often than I've ever thought about that man in my entire life. Like, Isaac exists in the beginning of the book, and she never thinks about him again. And according to Alexa, we bring up Isaac like every episode.
That's because we don't have any other, like, hook to keep us, like, tethered to this world. Like, who I'm supposed to identify with Tamlin?
That's a good point.
That is not why I bring him up. I
love this guy. I love this guy and his teeth.
Yes, it's the teeth. That's why I bring him up, because, like, what the fuck is that detail?
I feel like when we're bringing him up, we're referencing our own referencing of him. Do you know what I mean? Not the character.
That's fair. And to be honest, I forget about the teeth thing so much. Like, if Joe didn't bring that up all the time,
I wouldn't have thought of it, but now I think of it, like twice a week, I think. And I'm like, what? Why did we talk about this so much?
That's what I think about when I wake up. That's what I think about when I go to bed.
The teeth kissing is Joe's Roman Empire. Is that still relevant? That was the thing on TikTok like a year ago. Is that still a trend?
No, literally, like, I think two days ago, I think, like, I said something, and Lindsay said to me, is that your Roman Empire? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
She didn't understand that reference? Oh, man.
No, I did. I remember it now. It's been so long since that has been a thing,
okay.
I think. I do remember that happening. Okay, so anyways, let's sprint onwards. Okay, so...
Yeah, she sees Isaac. Isaac and her make eye contact. Isaac's new wife seems uneasy. There's, like, very little details in this.
Who doesn't even get a name?
Yeah, true. Doesn't get a name. I mean, to be fair, Isaac barely deserves a name. I think that's Isaac was named purely so she could reference him a couple times in the future. Because, like, that huntress, that hunter-gatherer person, right. She didn't get a name, and she's referenced again in a second. But anyway, so Feyre's back. She's gardening with Elaine. Everything's great. And Nesta is kind of giving her eyes. And so finally, Feyre is like, she goes over to chat with Nesta. And Nesta's like, I know everything. Your fucking glamour didn't work on me. I know everything. So Feyre's like, all right. And Feyre just tells Nesta everything that happened while she was gone. Like, what actually happened, where she was, tells Nesta about Tamlin. And I don't know if she tells her about Rhysand immediately. I don't know how far she goes. So. Yeah, but she at least tells Nesta, like,
there's danger
about her fairy life a little bit. And she alludes to danger a little bit. And then Nesta, on her side, discloses with Feyre, like, what she was actually doing. The fact that she actually got in a carriage and tried to go after Feyre because she remembered her being taken. Which was, like, that was even more shocking. It's like, wait a minute, Nesta did this?
This was the dumbest part in this book, bar none.
That is a...
Hands down.
What are you talking about?
No, when Nesta goes, I remember everything, the glamour didn't work. I'm like, are you fucking serious? We saw a glamour work on Rhys, the most powerful character in the lore that we have seen, and this
that's power scaling, man. Nesta, she's the chosen one.
It's like, but she has this spiteful, sharp mind. I'm like, yeah, so does Rhys.
I think it's a little different. I think Reese. I think there's different like kind of magnitudes of glamour, and is like the glamour that was placed on Farrah's family is like a specific like memory altering, like totally change their minds glamour, like make them forget everything, make them think like whole backstories are real, like a really really elaborate glamour. Whereas the glamour that's put on Rhysand is just like there's no, to actually to clarify, there's no glamour put on Rhysand. They just like hide Farrah, and as soon as Rhysand knows to look for a glamour, he spots through it immediately. Like there's no glamour put on Rhysand. There's a glamour put on Farrah to hide her, and that's the difference.
That's true, but like I just feel like there could have been a more, or I don't know, some other explanation. I went back through that part because I thought I missed something, like because I thought it was maybe like one of her random charms that they all carry like accidentally actually worked and like stopped the glamour from like taking over her or whatever, but it's just like, no, I'm too good for this. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when I was like, no. Yeah, because like they mentioned the wards, and I was like, the wards could have been part of it, but they didn't make that connection in the book, or they didn't, and it isn't even implied either. And it's just like, no, she just has this sharp mind and this, this drive and this hunger, and she can just see through the glamour. It's just like, no, that's...
Yeah,
no.
I don't know if that's yeah, I'm have to agree with Joe on that. Like, I mean, if she can do that, then I don't believe that Rhysand would not have been able to do that too.
I mean, he did do that though, right?
He did.
Like, magic to dispel it though. He had to cast a spell to dispel the glamour, and he had to also use logic surrounding
facts
the
and
situation. Logic. Yeah, he had to use facts and logics to destroy the libs at the college campus that Ben Shapiro was on. And then he had to dispel the glamour using magic. It wasn't like it wasn't like it just didn't work on him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't just like immune to it because he was like strong-willed enough. But I don't know. I feel like there could have just been a better explanation, is all. And maybe there is one later. I don't know. Maybe there's a real explanation for why it didn't work on her. That's like not.
I think the difference is it's mind altering, changing memories versus like draping a cloak in front of Farrah. Like, they're totally different glamours in my mind. There's one is not put on, like, no one tried to alter Rhysand in any way. They're just tried to hide Farrah. To me, it's very they're very different.
I see what you're saying, but like I don't know. I don't think they're that different. Yeah. But we can move on.
But speaking of glamours, there is the constant glamour of what we celebrate as Thanksgiving, placed on the American people, where we just celebrate this, peaceful interaction between pilgrims and the Native Americans, when in reality, between 1492 and 1900, there was a 96% population drop in Native Americans due to the genocide that we committed upon them. So, just a fun glamour, fun Thanksgiving fact.
As I said, this really is a fun Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah. Also, while we were doing that, I saw there was a Spark Notes quiz on if you would be asked to dance in a Jane Austen novel, which I thought was pertinent because of the season. And I would not be asked to dance at the ball. Because I once dabbled in the affairs of individuals far below my station, apparently.
Tragic. Were you taking that quiz while we were talking?
Yeah, while you guys were talking about the thing you were just talking about.
Which was pop quiz. What were we talking about hosting this podcast?
It was fucking Nesta and her glamour abilities.
Got it. All right.
Okay. So anyway,
I'm glad that we were so interesting. Even the host of our podcast wasn't listening.
I wanted to know if I wanted to know if I would have a good season or if I would have a poor season, much like Elena did.
Sounds like the whole family had a poor season.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. So anyway, we find out Nesta was immune to this fucking glamour for whatever reason.
And then this crazy shit, just the weirdest transition, honestly, as far as the book goes, where I think Patrick, you were right that Sarah J. Maas just got fucking bored. She's just like, oh yeah, here's everything that happened. And then Nesta goes, well, can you teach me how to paint? It's like, what? Like, what is the, like, that's it?
I don't know. It's not clear, unless I don't remember. I mean, you guys literally just read this moments ago. Yes. But it's not clear how much did Farrah tell Nesta? Because it sounds like she didn't...
Everything.
She left... Oh, okay. She told everything?
Yeah, it was literally everything. She was straight up like, there's the blight, like, here's everything. I think she.
Yeah,
I don't know if she mentioned the blight.
I don't know.
But like she at least
no, she did.
Like,
she mentioned that there was like a I don't think she like talked at length about like all the goings on at the estate, but she was like, "Hey, I was there with this lord. There's a blight coming, and it's very dangerous. Like, there's
she's like, I fucked a god. It was rad. She told her everything.
Yeah. So
then, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Nesta. If you get a huge info dump about another world.
I guess I'm just like I'm confused about this because like well, okay, here's the thing I want to say. Like I really did not expect these characters to ever show up again. Like
no,
I did not either.
And now that they're here, it's like if I don't know, like if Disney came up and they were like, "Yo, we're doing a new spin-off of Cinderella and it's about one of the evil stepsisters, like, and she's the protagonist," I would be like, I don't think I wanted to come back to this character.
I mean, I think it's important it's valuable for Farrah at least, because this whole time it's been just telling her, "Oh, your family's okay, your family's okay, your family's okay."
Yeah, that's true. No,
like,
I'm like surprised even like they are more okay than I thought they were based on what
right, exactly, said. and that exactly. I mean, that's Farrah thought that as well. Like she goes back to see how okay and how better than okay they are, and it's like cool, huge peace of mind. Family's cool, so that I mean, I think her seeing them gives her the peace of mind to take that journey back, which she does after this.
Yeah.
So like, and I think having that conversation with Nesta and like telling her everything, and then Nesta questioning her because Nesta like pushes her and is like, "Hey, like, are you like you missed this dude? Are you happy with the decision you made or anything like that?" Like Nesta fucking grills her because despite what even though the Nesta is a jerk to Farrah, she's pretty like brutally honest. So I think Nesta
she tells it like it
helps.
is.
Yeah, so Nesta helps kind of like bring Farrah back to her senses.
I guess that's true. No, that's true. You're right. Yeah, I mean, like she definitely serves a purpose here. I will also share the like confusion about like here's everything that's going on, and like there's a great danger coming, and she's like, "Wow, you better teach me how to paint before it's too late."
Or like ask, like, how was that fairy dick? There's a lot of other questions that I think are more pertinent to everybody involved.
I guess that's true. Anyway, but we'll I guess continue on. Like Nesta is like a little bit more layered, and she's like, "Oh, like I don't know." She's like, "Oh, our dad like basically didn't do shit to like help us after, or like over the last like years and anything with their mother and everything." And then I don't know. I also didn't. I don't know that if this is supposed to be some sort of like redemption arc for Nesta. Like I still don't like her, and I feel like she also didn't do anything to help her family during those years or whatever,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is this
and Farrah does call her on that. She's like, "You didn't do anything either." In fact,
that's
you
true.
like you spent the money as well. And Nesta straight up says, "I knew if I spent the money, you would just get us more." Like, wow, Nesta. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it was that, and she wanted their father to have to eventually do something, but it's like you're just punishing Farrah,
the whole family.
And she even said, like, "I hated you because you could provide." It's like, well, you could have just tried. Like,
yeah, that's true. Like, it's not. Yeah. Oh my god. Yes. Anyway, I don't like this character a lot, and I'm worried because of the attention that they're drawing to her that she's going to become a major character going forward. So we'll see what happens with that. I
think this is the start of a redemption arc or something, because she's at least being presented as a shrewd, reliable character as far as competency goes. Elaine is just a golden retriever. I like
that. She will fetch you.
Yeah, she's good.
When you throw a frisbee, like she'll get it for you and bring it back to you for sure.
But she's not going to be relied upon.
I like
for
Nesta
the
more.
War.
Really?
No, yeah. I like Nesta more after this. Like hearing that Nesta, she outs herself as being like pretty shitty to her sister, like knowingly shitty to her sister and her family.
It's worse.
Then. But yes, but she's not like, I don't know. She's shrewd and she's very knowledgeable, and the fact that she actually went after Farrah, like it's like she doesn't really care, but she does care. Like she hates her father. She has like bitterness towards Farrah, and like a lot of it's like jealousy, right? Like she's jealous about people around her, and like mad about the people around her, and like the life she has. But but she still went after Farrah, right? Like
yeah, that's true, which is really
That's not selfish.
I
that
feel
her
like
actions.
I need to I don't know. I need to hear more about that because that is so out. That seems so out of character with everything I've heard about this character so far. For like her to like go after to try to like rescue her, if that's what she was trying to do or anything. I don't know.
But I think that the actions she takes to do that speaks more to her character than her being very dismissive about Feyre and her father. Like because the way she's talking to her, she's talking a big talk about like, oh, this and that, and like she's like always been rude, and she's rude to Feyre here, she's rude to her father, she says she hates them, but when it came down to actually taking action, she went out to go rescue Feyre. So
yeah,
like
that's true. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
she did give up like her marriage with Thomas or like this is where I also these chapters I felt like in general she didn't write a lot of dialogue. It was a lot of Feyre making conclusions in her own internal monologue.
Yeah, that's true.
And not a lot of characters actually making themselves the pronouncements they should. Like in this case, she was like, "Oh, like I left Thomas because like he wouldn't have gone along with me on this." Because I guess in her mind, it would have been a forever journey that she was going on. She didn't think it was going to end in 4 days when she hit the wall.
Right.
But then Feyre kind of jumps to the conclusion of, oh, that's why she's so standoffish and can't stand to be around all of these, aristocrats anymore. It's like, well, we didn't really see that, and it didn't feel like it was ever really like established. You're almost kind of like trying to really rush some character development on Nesta in like a single chapter is to me what it felt like of, all right, let's just get Nesta up to speed, make her seem redeemable, and just kind of move on. I don't know. Like I like her. It kind of to me felt like almost like a season 8 Game of Thrones thing, where like I didn't, or in that case I minded the ending and all of it was garbage. Like even if they got there naturally, but in this case, I think if they fleshed out Nesta's character development more naturally, I would have liked the conclusion it arrived at. It just felt very forced.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I guess I don't know. I think Nerve's right in that by revisiting this chapter and giving us Elaine and Nesta again, I'd be shocked if they don't come back again, right? Because it could have been total write-off characters or whatever, but like we get more of Nesta, we get more of like the action she took, what she knows, what she's willing to do. It's like, okay, so they wouldn't do this if Nesta wasn't coming back again.
Yeah, that's true. And like, I don't know. I also like don't know if I want to like let me say it like this. I've definitely in other media or whatever, I've definitely been harder on other characters that like needed a redemption that I like eventually came around on. Like she's not like the worst character I've ever hated that like I eventually came around on or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but yeah, that I'm interested to see what happened. I wonder if she like met somebody significant on her journey to the wall or something. I don't know.
I mean, she did mention that she went to the tracker lady, right? Didn't she use the huntress lady, the mercenary? Yeah, she's the one who went to the mercenary and told the mercenary things, and the mercenary actually believed her, and like that's how she got tips to get to the wall.
Yeah. Okay. So
and to your point, Nero, before we move on, you're like you're right about she's not the worst character that could be redeemed. I mean, like Iroh in Avatar committed actual war crimes.
Oh yeah,
and he's the most. He's like the favorite character.
He's such an interesting character too because
he's a legitimate war criminal.
He actually like went through his redemption like off screen before the start of the show, and only through flashbacks do you find out that he needed redemption at all in a weird way.
But then Zuko
goes
like
through the real current
worst.
Right.
He's the worst in season
genuine.
1. All of season 1, I'm like, I hate this dude. This dude sucks. And by the end of the show, you're like, Zuko's pretty great.
He's like the best one actually. Never mind. But yeah, no, you're right. Like the people have done much worse things, and it's just a matter of like how you present it. So I'm not currently a fan of Nesta, but I'm open to being a future fan.
Yeah, so that's how I feel. I'm not saying like I'm suddenly like, oh, you know what, Team Nesta. I'm not like suddenly like the biggest fan, but like I think
get fucked, Team Jacob.
They've laid a little bit of groundwork here where I'm like, okay, well, clearly we're going to get more of her, and I'm actually, I guess, to be more specific, I'm not necessarily her fan now, but I'm interested to know more about her, I guess. Whereas before she was like just throwaway shitty sister.
Yeah, like I mean, like I said, even before she got in the last chapter, like in the last bit we read, like when she like came back home and like they were there and everything, I was like, wow, that even was surprising to me. Yeah, Anyway,
it does put in context. Just what I liked that they kind of had Nesta just standing outside, just like aimlessly, basically just staring for like nowhere for a while, and it would fuck with your mind if everybody in your family believed in this delusion. You know it's fairy magic, and you're just like, and then also you're kind of over the social society that you're thrust in because you're like, oh, everybody's superficial and sucks. That is a good amount of character development and isolation you would go through that I would say she did a good job of presenting in her character.
Do you think there would be any, I don't know if this is, I mean, obviously the book's already been written, but is there, I don't know, I'm thinking back to other books where it's like, shows like what's happening back when the hero leaves on their journey. So like, did either of you read Aragon?
No.
So like in Aragon, like Aragon is obviously the main character. He goes off on his journey. He leaves this small village to, learn about the ways of magic and start the rebellion and overthrow the evil king, etc. But like every so often, like the story like flips back to his brother Roran, who like still lives in their little village, who is like living in the aftermath of like all the shit that's happening. And like, I don't know, I think it's interesting because it's like you have the main story of like Aragon going on this epic Lord of the Rings adventure, and then like his brother who's like back at home trying to rebuild his farm, trying to like, take care of his pregnant girlfriend and like, keep the village together, keep like the leather shipments moving and shit like that. I don't know. I always like that that dynamic that Christopher Paolini had in there. So I was just curious, thinking back about this book, like would it have been interesting if there was like a chapter or two about like what Nesta was doing like while this book is going.
I think it was a lot of just staring at walls. Is what it sounds like.
Well, at least showing her like her trip to the wall or whatever, like something like that. I don't know if this is a book that's ever going to bounce around multiple POVs. Like maybe in future books it does.
The fifth one does. It goes to a different unrelated character.
Oh, okay.
The fifth book actually does?
Yeah, it does. The fifth book is a different character as the protagonist.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers for us and no one and Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
Hey, I checked in with Kyle. He is catching up.
Hell yeah. Gracious.
Can we
Deep.
like?
Well, actually, that is assuming that Kyle is actually listening to this on Thanksgiving, which I doubt.
I feel like the chances are minimal. Although we can talk about how Calvin Coolidge was gifted a live raccoon in 1926 to be used as Thanksgiving dinner, but Coolidge became attached to the raccoon, named her Rebecca, and decided to keep her as a pet.
Speaking of Thanksgiving dinner and a raccoon that Calvin Coolidge had, the next day, so there's the ball. Getting back to the book, there's this whole time that Fair has been here, the dad's like, "We're throwing you a ball. We're throwing you a fancy party."
Is that what the dad sounds like in your head?
Yeah, we're throwing you a fancy party. You're like, oh,
that's
okay.
Crazy. Okay, I had a different.
Yeah. Well, okay. No, he used to sound different, but now that he's rich again and his leg is healed, that's exactly how he sounds. He's got his old rich voice back.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyways, her dad's like, "We're throwing you a fancy party, Farah. Hello, everyone's home. Hooray! Splendid day." And then Farah's not interested in this party, and neither is Nessa. So two of them dip a little bit. Oh, no. Is it at the part? No, it's the next day we hear about the Better family finally.
Yeah,
we finally hear about the Better family. Although, actually, before this, I think I'm jumping around a lot. I forgot about the Betters, which is sad. But when she goes into town, when she's walking around town and she's like visiting poor people's houses or whatever, I think it's that.
Yeah, there is a kind of a throwaway line where it's like, "Oh, there was a fire last week," and like
a fire, someone's house burned down. I don't know about you guys, but my mind immediately was like, "That's the fucking Betters, right?"
Oh yeah, I knew. Okay, so I knew that. Like, I think I got confused about the timeline though, because I was like, "Didn't she come back yesterday? How did he burn their house down a week ago?" But I think I got confused about the timeline.
I think she's been home for maybe a couple days now or something like that.
Yeah, and
it happened before she got back.
Yes, she also took her several days to get back, which I forgot. So
and also they didn't leave. Did she leave the day after Reeson was there?
Yes, it was the day after that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I guess that then I have a question now actually, because if Reeson leaves the next day, tells Maligula, What's the bad lady's name again?
Maligula?
It's some no. It's
Amarantha.
Amarantha. That's the one. I knew it wasn't.
Maligula?
I knew. It's from Psychonauts. It's from Psychonauts.
Maligula Rising.
Yeah, I didn't know what her name was. Maligula was the first thing in my head. Anyways, Amarantha. Rhysand tells Amarantha the next day, and then they go to her house and burn it down immediately to the Better's house, and they kidnap Claire Better. But wouldn't they know that Claire Better allegedly is still with Tamlin? Like, I'm curious how the inner workings of the bad guys.
I don't think. Okay, so here's my thought, which I think makes sense, is that I think that they sent. He's like, oh, she's this person. Go burn their house down. Like, I don't think he was like, go find out if she's there right now at this moment. I think it was burn their house down with everybody in it, like kill her family.
But the Claire Better's, but Claire Better said is missing. Her body was not found.
Claire Better has been kidnapped.
Oh, right.
So I'm curious.
Damn, you're right. I don't know.
Although maybe it's probably the goons went to the house to burn the house down.
Yeah.
Found Claire Better and then decided to kidnap her, probably not knowing that it's the right girl or not, and then brought her back.
Because Rhys would know. He's like, oh, this is clearly not the person that I nearly lobotomized.
Yeah, I think he just sent goons there who are probably not the smartest. That's probably fine.
Probably underpaid.
Yeah, I'm imagining Tweedledee and Tweedledum, but like from The Wolf Among Us.
I was thinking like the two Goomba things from the Super Mario live action movie.
Nice.
Jesus
I like
Christ.
that.
What a good pull.
That is such a good pull.
Yeah, jeez, man. Dude, those fucking things. I love those. Okay. So we'll anyway. So we find out the Better family, I think they're all dead. Yeah, they all died in that fire except for, I guess, for Claire.
They better change their name to Worse.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh.
Woof. But yeah, so if, like Feyre learns,
it's like the exact right amount of pause time.
Feyre learns about the Betters being burned down, and her first reaction isn't, "Oh my gosh, what have I done?" Her first reaction is, "It's got to be a coincidence, right?" Mm-hmm. Surely.
Yeah, I know. That's so funny because if I was her, I would be thinking 24/7. Oh my God, Claire Better's going to die because of me. Oh my God,
what did I do about my huge mistake? But yeah, no, she learns about that. She's like, "Huh, that's unfortunate timing." And then she's thinking about it more. And she's like, "Hang on, this might be my fault."
She's sort of in the find out phase.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a Feyre kind of runs back to the estate when she realizes what's happening, tells her family basically like, hey, this is what's going on.
Well, they were in the middle of dinner, right? They were all sitting, they're all eating dinner together, and then Feyre like stands up and she's like, and she starts yelling at Nesta, and Elaine's like, what's going on? And Nesta's like, shut up, Elaine. Shut up. Just shut up. And then Feyre says, like, tells Nesta what's happening, and something she says like breaks the spell on both Elaine and their dad.
Yeah, so I think it's because once, I don't know if it's like pointing out like a logical like fallacy or whatever.
She said the word Prythian. She said Prythian, which like kind of for some reason being tangential to fairies got into it.
I wonder if it's just one of those things where it's like, so this actually, let me say this. This glamour that was cast over the family was not done by Tamlin. He just sent somebody to go do that. Yeah. So it may just be that they're not a very powerful fairy, frankly.
Could be. I don't know how glamours work.
The blight also could be in. Also, it could just be a.
It could just be a plot hole. We don't have to spend a long time.
Not plot hole, but like I don't think it's a plot hole, but just like a intentionally like. A very specific intentional plot hole, yes. Like
one of those hand wave, like, it doesn't matter.
Yes, exactly. Hand waves. Hand waves the right word. Okay, so, anyway, they get into kind of a fight there at dinner, and Feyre kind of tells everyone about, like, the blight here, that that people are possibly going to come for them, and that you need to flee, like, far to, like, the southern tip of the continent or something, which is, like, where the fairies never go, I think.
Basically, just get as far away from here as possible, like the furthest possible distance you can get to Fairyland.
Yeah, and so she gets on a horse and she immediately leaves for Prythian, and makes her way to the wall. She has to like find her way through a Fey crossing, which I thought was kind of fun.
The horse just like stops abruptly, and then she feels basically it's a solid wall.
It's an invisible.
That, like,
it's like a video game, like invisible wall that you've like.
She hit the edge of the world. You can't go any further. It's one of those games before, because like the newer video games, if you go past the world, they give you a message that says you can't go past here, and they'll like teleport you back. No, that's just straight up just an invisible wall. Very immersion breaking.
Yeah, I think that, but there's a little spot that opens up, like if you buy the DLC, that takes you to like this extra area here. Like,
I was thinking it's just like older games where if you kind of like push into the wall at just the right angle,
she glitches into it.
Yeah, you can do.
She glitches into the wall. And now she's walking around the DLC area. That's the unfinished DLC zone. She's walking around that right now.
Oh, that's true. And that actually explains why there's no people here. They didn't make any of the they didn't insert any of the character models in yet. But Feyre
she spends like 4 days going, right? She spends like a long time.
So
like,
she spends
walking
2
up
days
and down the
riding up to the wall, and then 2 days like trying to find her way through it, I think.
Like walking up and down the wall looking for an opening, and then when she finally finds an opening.
But she knows there's an opening somewhere. It's not like, I hope there's an opening. Like, she knows there is one. She's just, like, looking for it.
She doesn't know there's an opening. She kind of, like, deduces. I thought she's like, there has to be an opening because fairies can come and go through here.
She's like, I know there is a hole in the wall.
Oh, okay.
Somebody mentioned to her there is a hole in the wall that they use.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There was a lot in this part where, like, even at some point, Nesta holds up, like, some painted, like, something from their table as if it was some big reveal that she had it, and I was like, honestly, we're 30 chapters in, I don't fucking remember what this thing is. Like, I'm sorry, you introduced a lot of things at this point. I don't remember, like, what painted sage blue, whatever this is, you introduced in chapter 3.
Oh, I think it was comparing the fact that the table that was replaced in their old home was different than the original table or something. Yeah,
but it was like, I how would I remember what the old table, like, it so much has happened. There's been a lot that, like,
to be fair, I think
introduced a lot of interesting things since then. I don't remember this detail.
That's true, but also, like, I think most people aren't reading this book over the course of half a year like we are.
I still don't think that, like, that small detail would have hit the way she really thought it was going to.
Maybe
if this were a TV show, this would be one of the parts where as soon as Nesta holds that up, there's a cutaway and a flashback to recap the audience, something that happened 5 episodes prior, and we go, oh,
yeah.
Or it'd be on the previously on at the beginning of the episode, and as you're watching the previously on, you'd be like
why are they showing this?
This is going to be significant.
Dude, that was like 5 episodes ago. Why do we give a shit?
I kind of miss those, honestly, because like they don't do them as much in the streaming days. Like, they still happen sometimes, but like I kind of miss those. It's like reminding you what happened, like, you know, like earlier in the season, because it aired like, you know, 6 weeks ago or whatever, and it's like but
it's also a spoiler sometimes.
It is, I agree.
Because sometimes they'll show a character that hasn't been in the show for 2 seasons.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "Hey, remember this character?" I'm like,
"What happened?"
Yeah, are they going to show up in this episode? I guess.
Dude,
it's like, wait, isn't he dead? Like, oh, I guess he's probably not going to be dead anymore.
I guess he's
like,
not, yeah. It's like your sister Sarah disappeared on that boat 6 years ago. I was like, why are they showing this again?
I guess
that was a direct reference to Arrow. Okay.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh god, that show.
I actually went back to revisit it once I got a Netflix account again. I was like, what do I have here? Arrow. Wow, let me relive those days. There's a lot of that. Okay.
Why would you do that to yourself?
It's fun, dude. Now it's fun in like a soap opera way, you know. Also, I think I was I don't remember what the reason was, but like I was like talking to Lindsay and like I was like, well, let's watch a random episode of Arrow because I want you to see what this show was, and like it was the most like batshit thing ever. Like the Flash was in it, but then like there was a Nazi version of Arrow, and like there was like a Nazi DC world where Hitler won the war, and all the DC villains were actual Nazis, and like it was the Fourth Reich, and then the Fourth Reich DC characters like Arrow and the Flash were trying to invade their world. And I was like, what the fuck happened here?
Are you punking us? Is this made up?
No, this is a real thing.
Real. It's like, was it like Days of Tomorrow or some shit like that?
It was like Earth 53 or something. I don't remember what it was called. So it was like this is crazy shit. Anyway,
that's nuts.
Unrelated to this mostly.
No, that's how I felt watching John Wick 3, of just what a batshit insane clusterfuck of a movie. But holy shit, they kind of pulled it off.
Yeah, it's good when he shoots the gun, and it feels great when the people die.
But like, man, what a clusterfuck. Sorry, this is a sidebar. That it's all I've been able to think about is how amazingly dumb that movie is.
Oh yeah. I think the first movie I really wasn't tapping into the insanity of it, and I was like, this is stupid. And then by the end of the second movie, I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to like this.
I love John Wick out of the gate. The first movie kicks ass.
It's very good, very good. You just got to accept the goofiness into your heart. Okay.
The first one's the most grounded though.
So,
like everything else.
No. Yeah. It's way more grounded than everything else.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyways, Farrah.
Yeah. I don't like seeing that dog die. Okay. Anyway.
That's true.
Speaking of dogs,
Farrah goes through the wall.
Sarah J. Maas. I don't know.
What?
Sarah
J. Maas goes through the wall.
Sarah J. Maas. Wait, someone pointed out to us.
Yeah, Rachel pointed out that Sarah and Farrah are like strikingly similar names.
You just changed the S to an F. It's like, oh.
I can't believe we got like clowned for this long without realizing it.
It took us forever. Anyway, Sarah goes through the wall.
Yeah, and so she gets to the estate, and she sees that the whole thing has been like fucking wrecked. Like, obviously a bunch of people have come through here, driven everybody out of it, and destroyed a lot of the estate. Like, the glass is broken, there's shit everywhere all over the floor, like, windows are broken, and everyone's gone. And so, like, obviously there was, like, a big fight here, and I guess people, like, retreated or evacuated, but no sign of our buddy Tamlin or any of his friends,
But then she does find one of Tam's, like, necklaces, and she picks it up, and it's like she realizes it's just around his bones, and then she enters the Avatar state. And then she floats up into the air after realizing all of her friends were massacred.
So
that was an interesting
wild.
part.
That was
pretty crazy.
I didn't think they were going to do that, but...
They really went for it.
They did.
They really went for it.
Yeah. Anyway, so like we ended on like a pretty big like cliffhanger here. Like this is very clearly like the beginning of the end, right? The end of the book starts on that next chapter. Like
like they're gonna. I think shit's gonna ramp up in a serious way. And we're going to start escalating towards the end pretty quickly, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say that I think we spent too much time with her sisters. Like, I think it's valuable that she went back to, like, her family and saw what was going on there, but I feel like we spent too much time there is all. But, like...
I don't think we spent too much time there. I think we spent, like, hardly any time. If they had spent a less amount of time there than we did, it would have felt like a joke.
I think it was useful... I think, Patrick, kind of what you're saying is that it was useful. It was to tie up loose ends of if she goes back, there is no safety anywhere. She has to go on this hero's journey. You cannot avoid the hero's journey anymore.
Dude, crossing the threshold.
You have to do this. And also to like tie up the loose ends with the family. Like you don't have to stay there to save them anymore. They are aware of what happened to you. You can now focus solely on fairy shit.
There is like a weird part of the hero's journey where like basically you have to like your parents or your family have to be like removed from the equation for you to go on the hero's journey. You know what I mean? Like, which is like, I don't know. It's just why it happens in so much media that like whatever family the character has at the beginning is like one way or another just like removed from the concern, you know? But anyway, now I think that's fine. Like I am interested to see the closing part. And like I said, when we were in the chat, like this is the first time I was like, oh man, I want to keep listening to see what happens next. So I was like, cause like this is like right when you're ramping up to it. So yeah, I would like to see what happens next. And we're definitely coming into like the closing bits here.
So it looks like we have 4 episodes left, based on the layout Alexa made for us.
Oh yeah? Okay. Yeah. So well, basically, actually, hold on. Let me count this because I mean, it won't be like right at the. I guess it'll be like February, I think, when we get to the next one. But also, I've committed because I spent one of my Audible credits on the second book, so I'm in.
I mean, I have 4 Audible credits built up right now. I might just buy the next 4 books and then cancel my Audible subscription.
Good news for you. Jennifer Aikita only narrates the first 2 books, and then someone else starts doing it.
That's almost worse.
That's not good news.
Because then I have to learn a new person's voice and new voices. Did you listen? Did you by chance listen to the? Yeah, change is awful. Did you by chance listen to the Game of Thrones audio, but the Song of Ice and Fire audiobooks?
I only listened to the audiobook for the second one. I don't remember what the reasoning was for that, but
okay.
Yeah.
Those were narrated by Roy Dotrice, I think I want to say.
Okay.
And I think he recorded the first 3 books all at once. Not all, like not at the same time, but like he recorded the first 3 books back to back. Those are super consistent with one another. His pronunciation of all the names are consistent. His voices are the same. Like everything is good to go. And then I think he must have taken like some amount of years break before recording the 4th and 5th ones. Because then he comes back for the 4th one, and everyone's voices change. His pronunciations change. It is wild. It is infuriating. It drives me up the wall.
That actually sounds pretty rough.
Yeah. I'm not that attached to Jennifer Aikita's narration or pronunciation, so if narrator changes, I won't be too torn up. But when it does, it can be jarring.
Yeah, I think also some more information we got about the order the books, the way they were written. So we kind of have learned that she wrote basically the first book kind of as like a standalone thing, and then wrote the second book after she realized that she wanted to continue on with that world, and she had those 2 books sitting there before she published either of them. So she basically wrote these first 2 books. And then published the first one, and it obviously started getting traction, so she continued on with the series. But I mean, not like she couldn't have gone back and made some notes or changes or whatever, but I think largely the story of this first book was composed thinking it was a one-off.
At least at the time, yeah. And then she finished the book, as you said, and she immediately was like, I want more of this world.
Yeah, I want to continue on with this thing. So I think that'll be interesting to see I want to see if there's a tone shift or anything, because I think that happens a lot with these longer series. There's a lot of times a pretty drastic tone shift sometimes with how things are written.
I mean, according to Alexa, there's a pretty drastic bone shift moving forward. Yeah, there's significantly more banging. Yeah, in the future books in this.
It looks like the third book and forward is narrated by Amanda Lee Cobb. I don't know her.
No idea who that is.
According to Rachel, the second book has a very vivid descriptions of fairies, fairy members.
Yeah. So that'll be good. Well,
I mean, to be fair, that is the whole reason we started this podcast.
Yeah, because we thought it would be funny.
3 straight men talking about that kind of stuff would be funny, and there's been way less of that in this book.
One chapter of it.
One chapter of it. So I'm looking forward to the next book.
Well, we came here for the gratuitous...
unironically... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying we came here for the gratuitous horniness, but now we are fans of the book.
Now we're staying for the gratuitous friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I am at this, again, I would want to, keep reading. I actually may, honestly, this is crazy, but I may just continue listening, right after we finish this, because I do want to know what happens next.
I mentioned to the off-air pre-recording that I didn't even realize the chapter had ended, and I just blew through the chapter. So I'm actually one chapter ahead, and I have hidden that from my record. I've been trying to pretend to be ignorant about future events. But yeah, I'm one chapter ahead because I absolutely could not stop listening. And I'm probably going to keep listening after this because it's great. I'm really enjoying it. And even if we decided not to do another season of the podcast, I would for sure continue this series.
I think I even at this point, I think I would rate this book a solid 3 out of 5 stars even now, which I think probably can only go up from here. So I've enjoyed it enough, for sure.
I'm gonna hold on a star rating until I finish the book, but I'm enjoying it.
The ending really.
Oh yeah, ending can very much make or break how you feel about the whole work. More than it really has a disproportionate weight. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, I've heard a lot of people say the last bit is the best part of this one. So we'll see how it goes. Also, I do want to let me see. I think. Oh yeah. Also, some people have asked about this. The finale so after we finish the last chapters of the book, the next episode is going to be a finale for season 1, and we're going to have kind of a round table with a lot of our female friends to kind of come on here, Alexa included definitely, and kind of talk to us about not just their takes on the book, but what they thought about our takes on X, Y, and Z thing. So
they're gonna fucking roast us. They're gonna absolutely roast us for our tone in the beginning and the things we said. They're gonna absolutely drag our asses, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it'll be good because it'll you know what? I think it'll humble me.
Yes.
And I always like that. I'm not ready to be roasted. Please be nice to me. Okay.
Don't be nice to any of us. Roast us extremely thoroughly.
But anyway, yeah. So we'll be back. I think with the next set of chapters is going to be probably a lot of action, just from what I don't know. Just that's how stories work. So we're probably getting to the climax pretty soon here. Okay.
Any other predictions from you two? I can't give a prediction.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and also let me say my other prediction also happened, which was just that like she gets home and finds out Claire Better's family is just like dead. So
that was all. Yeah, that was immediately. We all talked about that, how they're absolutely toast. And as soon as that happened, I was like, "Yep, great."
Okay. I think that a portion of here's my thing is that like, obviously the Night Court or some adjacent force to the Night Court has attacked the Spring Court and driven them out of their homes. Even if there's some sort of epic battle going on somewhere, I think the majority of the folks at the Spring Court are maybe not like fighters and are hiding somewhere in the woods. And I am thinking that's who they're going to find first. Maybe Lucian's with them, and maybe I feel strongly that like Tamlin is like off doing something right now, because like he kind of gave that indication. He was like, I've been sitting here letting them like beat the shit out of me. Like I have to go do something, take some action. So I feel like he's already gone off to confront Rhysand and Night Court things, and Feyre's gonna have to chase after him basically to be there.
Sweet.
I am thinking that Feyre's probably going to run into the what's the truth-telling weird?
The Sorial?
The Sorial again. The cereal.
Oh, that could be cool. The cereal. Yeah.
She's going to put some milk on it as you do, and then it will tell her some facts, some knowledge, drop some truth bombs on her, like, hey, I told you to stay there, you didn't, something like that. Or she will run into probably Lucian, I'm thinking. I feel like Lucian probably got away somehow, and Tamlin is somewhere else, is my guess, and they are going to go together to rescue Tamlin. That's kind of how I see this playing out. It's like Lucian's still hanging out somewhere around this beat-up manor.
Yeah, I see that.
She needs an ally. There's definitely be an ally somewhere that comes in that we've already met, is the way that I see it.
Or it could be Alice or somebody, like, just, like, giving her, like, the deets and being like, you got to go here. This is where this stuff is happening.
Because if she goes alone, she's going to... Well, I'm thinking an ally powerful enough to actually fight with her, because otherwise...
Oh, okay.
Or somebody that will tell her where to find the... whatever the wood was called. The
MacGuffin.
Yeah, whatever the wood is that can actually kill fairies.
Ashwood,
thank you. She would need that, because otherwise she alone can't do anything without that. At least not by what we have established currently, without further details. So
yeah, I agree.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think that's heading. I hope there's like a big like epic fight and like somebody pushes somebody off a castle in a rainstorm.
Nice.
I'm thinking a volcano. I'm thinking it's under the mountain. To me, is like screams volcano.
Okay. I was doing Beauty and the Beast again. It could be a volcano.
Damn. Got.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go and wrap this up. This is pretty good. I think we got like a full hour out of this. I'm surprised.
I mean, I would say 45 minutes of this hour was us bullshitting, but
that's true. And also some Thanksgiving facts. Let's close on a good one.
We don't have to shit on our own podcast constantly. We can just make a product, and we can do this later when we're off air.
No, okay. I mean bullshitting we're just bullshitting.
No, like just like shitting around random stuff. Like, right. Okay. So anyway, Jingle Bells was originally written in 1857 by James Lord Pierpont as a Thanksgiving song.
Oh, classic. There aren't enough Thanksgiving songs. People should have more courage.
I would argue that there are no Thanksgiving songs.
And my closing fact is that Thanksgiving actually comes from the English words meaning giving thanks. It means to give thanks. So fun fact there, you can bust out when your family is arguing over politics and the election. Yeah,
that'll be good. I'm sure that'll be really good and healthy at all households.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give some thanks here. I'm gonna give thanks for good podcast and good friends and good cat. I'm just looking around my room now. Yeah, I think that's good.
Cool. Thank you to our listeners. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Thanks
That's
for all the money you're Venmoing me personally. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. All the money you're Venmoing directly to Patrick only is really helping us as a unit.
Yeah, it's great. Big fan.
I'd also like to thank the listeners, except for, again, the Canadians and people that say, "Jiff, you stop listening. We don't want you."
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle.
I would like to extend an olive branch that Joe is sort of pulling back from me to the Canadians out there.
I would also like to extend an olive branch.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I've been really excited about how much things are growing, and also we were kind of talking about this. If you want to recommend this to somebody, tell them to start at episode 7, please.
Yeah, actually though, don't listen to the first few episodes. It's probably pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't feel shame, so I don't know what that would be like, but I do think our product gets better starting around episode 7, and we're too much of cowards to just delete episodes 1 through 6. So
based on what Alexa told me about the original episodes and our general vibe, please don't listen to the old episodes. I don't want to listen to them. I'm embarrassed to think about them. Don't listen to them.
Hey, if you don't look back on your past self and cringe a little bit, you're not growing.
Wow. That's super insightful. You know what else is insightful? Keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking.
No. No. We can just end it abruptly. We don't have